Okay, good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to DPWH Sorsogon 2nd. So today, April 23, 2026, we have a scheduled pre-bid conference for contract ID 26FL006. Organizational outcome, ensure safe and reliable national road system, Off-Carriageway improvement, secondary roads, Bulan Airport Road, kilometer 0632 879 0633 000. So present for today's pre-bid conference are as follows. Joanna C. Calagos, back chair.
President.
David D. Pura Jr., back vice chair. Leia E. Fontanares, back member. Cecil Dulisin, back member. Denise Ann Herado, Planning and Design Section Representative. And Dian E. Albay, IT Representative. So, Madam Chair, since we majority of back members is present today, so we already have a quorum.
Since we have a quorum, this pre-bid conference is now called to order. The agenda for this pre-bid meeting are as follows. First, basic contract data, requirements of bidding documents, eligibility criteria, documents to be submitted by the bidder, including technical and financial proposals, criteria and procedures for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification and award, summary of proceedings including bid bulletins, supplemental to be issued, questions, comments from the bidders, and replies of the BAC and other representatives of the procuring entity and other matters. To discuss the basic contract data is Engineer Denise Herado.
Basic contract data for project 26FL0006, contract ID 26FL0006, contract name Organizational Outcome 1, ensure safe and reliable national road system, off-carriageway improvement, secondary roads, Bulan Airport Road, kilometer 632 plus 879 to kilometer 633. Contract location, Bulan, Sorsogon. Approved budget for the contract, 1,366,120 pesos. Source of fund, GAA FY 2026. Contract duration, 25 calendar days. Predetermined unworkable number of days, 6 calendar days. Cost of bidding documents, 5,000 pesos. Submission of bids, scheduled on May 6, 2026 until 10 a.m. Opening of bids, May 6, 2026, immediately after closing receipt of bids. Major category of work, RCP. For the project description, first, scope of works. This project includes a site clearing and excavation of the proposed off-carriageway PCCP with a width of 1.5 meters and thickness of 0.23 meter, including reblocking works. It also covers preparation and compaction of the subgrade and subbase materials and installation of metal guardrail or metal beam. Objective, to rehabilitate and stabilize road shoulders to prevent edge failures, to enhance road safety for motorists and pedestrians, to extend the service life of existing pavement structures, construct shoulders along priority secondary road segments, improved driving safety by providing safe vehicle recovery zones. Lastly, reduce maintenance needs for road edges and extend pavement lifespan. We also have here the geotag photos taken during site validation. As for the environmental clearance, it has been applied for but is still under screening. We also have the certification which certifies that the project reflects the updated CNPD, the labor rates, the PERR, and the 27th edition of the ACEL Equipment Guidebook. We also have here the detailed engineering design plan. This is the location plan and the vicinity map of the project. We also have here the straight line diagram, the typical plan section and details of proposed roadway, and other details of the project. Requirements of bidding documents, instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, bid data sheet, specifications DPWH Blue Book Volume 2 and 3, drawings, bill of quantities, and forms. This is the bid data sheet of the project. Next, the special conditions of contract. We also have the bill of quantities. The minimum manpower requirement for the project engineer must have handled infrastructure projects. Project engineer must have handled similar projects. Materials engineer, DPWH accredited materials engineer, general construction foreman must have handled similar projects. Safety and health officer must have undergone 40 hours basic construction safety and health training. For the minimum equipment requirement, dump truck all models 1 unit, payload loader LX80-2C 1 unit, bulldozer DX175 1 unit, backhoe with breaker 1 unit, motorized road grader 1 unit, vibratory roller 1 unit, water pump or truck 1 unit, transit mixer all models 1 unit, cargo or service truck 1 unit.
Four key points. So the lowest calculated responsive bid will be used as the criteria for award. The amount of the advantage payment is 15% of the total contract price to be made in lump sum. All progress payments shall first be charged against the advance payment until the latter has been fully exhausted at the option of the procuring entity. The contractor shall submit the program of work to the procuring entity within 10 days of delivery from the notice of award. Submission and receipt of bids. So we have two envelope system. The eligibility documents and technical requirements, and the first envelope and the second envelope. And the second is the financial proposal. So the bid validity is 120 calendar days from the date of the opening of bids. So for original technical, so we have one envelope, the original technical, and the other is the original financial. So saka po, ilalagay po siya sa original bid sa malaking envelope. So each envelope shall contain the name of the contract to be bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient, BAC, PE, and procuring entity, and do not open before daytime of opening of bids. Second is the copy 1 technical, same po. So copy 1 technical and copy 2 financial. Ilalagay po ulit sa malaking envelope. So each envelope shall contain the name of the contract to be bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient, BAC, procuring entity, and do not open before daytime of opening of bids. So yung original bid po at saka yung copy 1 bid, ilalagay po ulit siya sa malaking envelope, sabay na po, and each envelope shall contain the name of the contract to be bid, name and address of the bidder, recipient, BAC, PE, and procuring entity, and do not open before daytime of opening of bids. So sealed and unmarked bid. Ito pong sealed and unmarked bid, not compressed and password protected, di po siya allowed. And ito po yung improper sealed and marked, improperly compressed and password protected, allowed po yan. Submission or receipt of bids or modification of bids. Before the deadline of submission of bids, bidder shall not be allowed to retrieve its original bid. Submit new bid equally sealed, properly identified, linked to its original bid and marked as a modification. Withdrawal of bids. Letter of withdrawal must be received prior to the deadline for submission and receipt of bids. For bids withdrawn within the interval between the deadline and expiration of bid validity, the bid security shall be forfeited. For electronic bid submission, bidders shall send another bid equally secured, properly identified and labeled as a modification of the one previously submitted. The time indicated in the latest bid receipt page generated shall be the official time of submission. So we have two submission po, through manual submission and electronic submission. So through manual submission po sa Back Secretariat Office, DPWH Sorsogon, 2nd DO, Barangay Payawin, Gubat, Sorsogon. At doon po sa electronic submission, electronic bids at _Sorsogon2 at dpwh.gov.ph. So isa lang po yung pwede nyo submit dyan, is either manual submission or electronic submission. Eligibility criteria. So the following persons or entities shall be allowed to participate in the bidding of infrastructure projects: duly licensed Filipino citizens or sole proprietorships, partnerships duly organized under the laws of the Philippines and or which at least 60% of the interest belongs to the citizens of the Philippines, corporations duly organized under the laws of the Philippines and of which at least 60% of the outstanding capital stock belongs to citizens of the Philippines, cooperatives duly organized under the laws of the Philippines, or persons, entities forming themselves into a joint venture. Foreign bidders may be eligible to participate in the procurement of infrastructure projects when provided for under any treaty or international or executive agreement as provided in Section 4 of the Act of the IRR RA 12009. Must have a valid pickup license, must have an LCC that is similar to the contract procurement project to bid of at least 50% of the ABC. The SLCC shall be supported by an owner's certificate of financial acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES or a similar performance monitoring system. Contractors under small A and small B categories without similar experience, provided the cost of contract to be bid is not more than the ARCC of the registration, must have an NFCC at least equal to ABC to be bid. Stated invitation to bid. Contractors applicants who wish to participate in this bidding must be in the document request list of the PhilJEP's website and secure a printout copy showing that they are included in the list and are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works application. The contractor's eligibility to bid on the project will be determined using the DPWH contractor profile eligibility process and subject to further post-qualification. If we registered in the DPWH CWA, this is the requirements. Pickup license and registration in case of joint venture, statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts, statement of bidders SLCC, computation of net financial contracting capacity, valid joint venture agreement if applicable. If not registered po sa DPWH Civil Works application, ito po yung requirements. PhilJEP Certificate of Registration, Platinum Membership in accordance with Section 20 of the IRR, pickup license and registration in case of joint venture, statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts, statement of bidders SLCC, computation of net financial contracting capacity, and valid joint venture agreement if applicable. Mandatory requirements, documents comprising the bid technical components, so bid security, validity 120 calendar days, either cash or manager's check, bank draft guaranteed 2% of ABC. Surety bond, callable on demand, 5% of ABC. Bid securing declaration, so we have a new form po, yung sa Republic Act 12009 form. And second po yung project requirements, organizational chart of the contract to be bid, list of contractors' personnel, list of contractors' major equipment units, owned, lease, and under purchase agreement. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securing and Exchange Commission. Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. So ISO 9001, 2015 certification of its latest versions is applicable Department Order number 110 series of 2024. And number 3, Omnibus Zone Statement duly notarized. And for tax clearance, submission of BI receipt for renewal of tax clearance will not suffice in lieu of a valid tax clearance requirement. Submission of provisionary tax clearance issued by the BIR for bidding purposes is not acceptable form of tax clearance. Under po yan sa DPWH Resolution number 01-2014. Statement of ongoing government and private contracts. So a statement of the bidder of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. The statement shall include all information required in all the bidding documents. Bid securing declaration, some statement. So under po sa second envelope sa financial proposal, meron pong requirements, bid form, summary of bid prices in the bill of quantities, detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of materials, labor, and equipment, cash flow by quarter, month, and payment schedule, other documents required in the bidding documents. Financial proposal checklist po yan, nakalagay. So detailed evaluation of bids po, yung purpose is to determine the lowest calculated bid by establishing correct calculated prices of bids and ranking calculated total bid prices from lowest to highest. So the method to be used is a non-discretionary criterion shall be used, which shall include consideration of completeness of bids and minor arithmetical corrections. Results shall be contained in the abstract of bids. So in case of discrepancies po, bid price in figures versus bid price in words, so yung bid price in words shall prevail. So total price per item versus unit price for the item times quantity. So the unit price for the item times quantity shall prevail. Stated total price versus actual sum of prices of component items. So the actual sum of prices of component items shall prevail. Unit cost in the detailed estimate versus unit cost in the bill of quantities. Unit cost in the bill of quantities shall prevail. So no contact rule po, provisions of communication with bidders from bid valuation till award of contract. So post-qualification, purpose is to determine whether the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all requirements and conditions as specified in the bidding documents to be declared the lowest calculated and responsive bid. Method is a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion shall be used to verify, validate, and ascertain all statements and documents submitted by the LCB. So key personnel verification. If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder working on another project at the time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and he or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office. So equipment verification. Also to be verified during post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidder should specify the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any piece of equipment is not in the specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. So common reasons for bidders disqualification. Una po, late submission of bids without valid reasons. And pangalawa po, submission of patently sufficient bid. Doon po sa submission of patently sufficient bid, ito po yung submission of expired certificate of Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System or PhilGEPS, registration, platinum or membership, or certified of PhilGEPS certification containing expired Class A legal and financial documents as determined during the eligibility screening. Second po, failure to include certificate of employment contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm and curriculum vitae. Failure to submit required bid form. Submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to the non-inclusion and or omission of mandatory provisions and statements for the required bid. Number 5, submission of the bid form, bid securing declaration of the sworn statement and joint venture agreement without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. Nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents. Failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order Number 90 of 2012. Failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment. Failure to submit proof of ownership, lease, or purchase agreement of pledged equipment. Insufficient NFCC, insufficient SFCC. Thank you.
Po, may mga tanong ka?
Doon lang.
Okay, since we have no more matters to discuss, this previous